In the beginning, there were 14 in the group. 14 Poles setting out to retrace the steps once walked by tens of thousands of emaciated and exhausted Auschwitz prisoners 69 years ago. They hope to commemorate the many victims who died on the death march and experience some small fraction of their ordeal. Their march begins at the entrance to the former Auschwitz concentration and death camp, at the infamous gate with the inscription Arbeit macht frei. Work will set you free.
I want the younger generation to understand what people did to others back then. I don't feel any hate towards the Germans, but I want to experience what it means to walk this extreme distance. I'm walking it for the third time. It's something I have to do. Next year, on the 70th anniversary, I'll be back.
As the Red Army advanced in mid-January 1945, Auschwitz was evacuated. Tens of thousands of men, women and children were ordered to walk to a railway station 63 kilometers away, on what later became known as the Death March. From there, they were to be transported by rail to concentration camps within Germany. Prisoners who were too weak to continue were shot. 18 of the victims are buried here, at a cemetery in the village of Brzeźcie. Some of the victims were never identified. The group stops to reflect, meditate, pray, and place candles on the graves.
I try to imagine what they went through back then. They had nothing to eat, and they were forced to keep marching until the SS men were tired and wanted to rest. I'm paying my respects to the victims. Then we'll move on.
It starts to get dark early in the afternoon, but the group continues its walk alongside the road. It's still a few kilometers until they'll stop for the day. Tonight they'll sleep in this school in Jastrzębie-Zdrój. The mayor has invited them. After 42 kilometers, it's a welcome rest. They already have blisters on their feet.
After 20 kilometers, I noticed my feet were getting tender. My socks are too thick. That was a mistake, but I'm not going to cry over it.
In 1945, the prisoners had a much harder time. They didn't have hiking boots or warm clothes. What we're experiencing now is nothing compared to what they went through back then.
They have dinner at the school. The hikers are tired and go to sleep early. Everything went smoothly today. For the group, the hike is a very special commemoration.
Just laying a wreath isn't enough. That's too easy. It's not 100%. We can't feel what the prisoners did back then. We're healthy, and we're not starving. But our hike brings us as close to their experience as is possible today.
2 days later, they reach their goal, the Władysław Śląski railway station. This is where survivors of the Death March were shipped westward. Some local residents are here to greet the marchers. There are some critical voices, but most people admire what they're doing.
They're sincere about what they're doing, and the victims who died such a terrible death deserve to be remembered.
It's a good reminder for young people about the genocide and its history.
I disagree. We're reopening old wounds. These aren't good memories. We shouldn't be conjuring up this terrible past.
For their part, the hikers are glad that they managed the entire route.
I hope the weather is colder and more severe next year, like the winter of 1945. That's what I want to experience.
It was both a labor of love and a physical challenge. I wanted to make it to the end. It was hard, and I have blisters, but my heart is satisfied.
I am very content. We made it and we'll do it again. More people have already said they're taking part next year.
For the hikers, it was 3 days spent in intense reflection, paying tribute to the prisoners of Auschwitz. They want to keep that memory alive, now and in the future.